Finally, I read Fourth Wing. Hey guys, welcome back. Is this really a booktube channel if I don't do a video on Fourth Wing? You know, that book that has so much hype around it. Today we are going to talk about my favorite things from Fourth Wing, one thing that I am very salty about, and then lastly, what I hope happens in the rest of the series. I knew going into this book, I was going to like it. It's right up my alley with the types of books that I love. It's a fantasy romance novel about a 20-year-old Violet in the kingdom of Navarre. Her mother is the commander of the War College, where she's basically a master in dragon riding, and dragon riding is the elite of this country. Violet is forced by her mother to join the dragon section of this college instead of being a scribe like she initially had dreamed of doing her whole life. While in this dragon program, she grows as a person and she develops her skill, she makes some friends, and we have an enemies to lovers romance plot. Overall, this book was a very easy read. I do wish the main characters were a little bit older, but that's just because I'm becoming a little bit older, so that's just a personal preference. I don't love reading about college age people anymore, but in terms of like plot and world building, I did think that the book was really well done. Now, the rest of the video is going to contain extreme spoilers, so proceed with caution. Time to go through my favorite things about the book. First, obviously, I love the dragons and the fantasy aspects that go along with the dragons. But more specifically, one of my favorite parts about the dragon bonding with their rider is the result of the like telepathic talking. I mean, it's kind of weird to have your thoughts and emotions intermixed with the dragons, but I liked how this shows how strong the bond is between a dragon and their rider. Plus, you get to talk to the dragons, and that's the kind of fantasy shit that I love. Now, the mind talking slash feeling is to be between the dragon and their rider, but I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that Zayden and Violet also had this connection and the ability to be in each other's heads since their dragons are mated to each other. So due to the mate bond, all four of them are connected basically. And I felt like this did a really good job of speeding along the romantic connection between Violet and Zayden. I mean, there's this wonderful intimacy about being able to speak within someone else's mind and feel their emotions. Plus, this ability made their sexy scenes even sexier, in my opinion. The mind talking made me think of Mates from A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I love those books too. Also, speaking of A Court of Thorns and Roses, Zayden's shadow ability really reminded me of Azrael's since he does stuff with shadows. So the whole time I was reading, I was just imagining them as the same character. Now, to go along with that, I also loved the powers gained from the relics in general. So once a rider is chosen by a dragon, they get a mark to where the dragon's power can essentially flow into the rider for the rider to wield their power. I find it really interesting that no one knows what their power is going to be once they're bonded with this dragon until it happens. And throughout their lifetimes, a dragon may be bonded with multiple different riders, but this may not result in the same power or ability of each rider. I love that the powers the riders gain resemble who they are on the inside. Example of this being like Zayden with his shadows being a nod to how secretive he is. Violet with her lightning wielding showing just how powerful of a person she is on the inside. And then there's Dane, the guy who likes to be in everybody's business and he has the powers to obtain people's memories. I just feel like that's the type of power I would get. I just know it. I'm so nosy. So the riders have their big main power that they have to uncover, but each person also gets like the same smaller abilities. Like everyone's able to like unlock doors and use like inkless pens, things like that. I wish these details were touched on more or maybe made into a bigger deal. And maybe it really isn't that big of a deal to the characters, and that's why it didn't feel like such a big thing. But like for me, I was like, what can you do? Like what all can you do? So I'm hoping as we go into the series more, we'll be able to see more of like their little powers, because I mean like, you have little powers. Like, that's still magic. That's still cool. Lastly, before I go into my big spiel about the big thing that I'm salty about in the book, I do want to say that I really did like Violet and Zayden as characters. I thought Violet's character growth was really well done, turning her from this scribe to someone who seems like they were always meant to be a dragon rider. It was really enjoyable to read about her coming into her own. And then there's Zayden. I was so glad the author made it to where Zayden had basically been working for the revolution and basically continuing his father's work this whole time. I felt like it was really the only way for the story to go, especially since everyone was already like really weary of him possibly doing this one day. So to find out that like, oh yeah, this whole time I've been smuggling weapons and supplies to the enemies. Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. That makes total sense. But also showing the reason behind why he was doing that. Like, he's trying to help these other people who are outside of the kingdom. They're supposed to be these kingdom's enemies, but they have like these other creatures that they're trying to defend themselves against. The kingdom knows about this and they're just kind of ignoring it and letting all these innocent people die. I do love that he cares about things beyond the kingdom that he's in, and I feel like it really shows that he's a deep character, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the series has in store for his character. I mean, he's been doing this all for the greater good, so, you know, good on you. Now, my least favorite thing about this book. I have a major gripe about Liam's death. I am pissed. Now, Liam was first introduced as this like sweet, flirty, happy guy who was one of the rebellion children. He was a first year just like Violet, and he was one of the best students in his year. So we didn't even meet Liam in the book until after Zayden decided that Liam is going to just be Violet's bodyguard and literally follow her everywhere. And I feel like that was a good little bit into the book. Like, that was after she bonded with her dragons. Like, you know, people are like, I want to kill her even more than before. I literally loved him. I felt like he was the perfectly like balanced character between like having the skill to protect Violet, but then also we saw him becoming Violet's friend. Liam was also very important for the development of the story and learning more about Zayden, because him and Violet and Liam would have all these conversations about Zayden, so we would learn more about him and who he actually was. Obviously, Zayden has to be, you know, a good guy, because if Liam cares that much about Zayden, obviously like there's something else going on here, because Liam would do anything for Zayden, because I mean they were pretty much brothers and they were super close. Anyway, I got all attached to this dang character. So here's me thinking that the three of them, Violet, Liam, and Zayden, will continue to make like a great team throughout the rest of the series, and they'll be great buds, and like everything's gonna be super great. They were friends. And then I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Liam's dragon is being attacked by one of these mythical nasty creatures, and nobody can get to his dragon to save it. So Liam's dragon dies. And then as the reader, we get to read about how now Liam is dying a slow death because his dragon is dead. I was gutted. This is the one time that I cried in this entire book, and it was when Liam was on the back of Violet's dragon, and physically he was fine. There's nothing wrong with him. As soon as his dragon died, he started literally dying. I didn't quite grasp the whole thing throughout the entire book, where it's like, oh, you know, a dragon without its rider is a tragedy, but a rider without their dragon is dead. I just thought this was like this dramatic saying. I didn't know that quite literally, if the rider's dragon died, by default, the rider dies. How did I miss that? How was I like, yeah, rider without their dragon's dead, whatever. And then Liam dies, and I'm like, I'm so mad. I'm just like, rah. So I was so sad and crying when Violet got Liam off her dragon and was like trying to help him over to his dead dragon so he could mourn and die, basically. And then Zayden has to come over and help his brother go lay to rest with the dragon. I was like, what the fuck? I understand the author's decision to have a death like this in the book, to like really show the reader this connection between the writer and the dragon, and to show me that literally the writer will die if their dragon does. Why did it have to be my Liam? My sweet, sweet Liam. That's a crime. Obviously, I would have preferred a more side character that, like, you know, we knew, but we weren't super like attached to have this happen to them. So we could see like the result of what happens when a dragon dies. Like, you know, we get to learn what happens, but then I get to keep Liam. Like, not gonna lie, I wish it would have been done with like Garrick or like Imogen or something. Like, both of these characters are, you know, fine. We know them well, but I'm not attached to them. I was just shocked. I was just like, is this author seriously killing off a character that I like right now? Like, is this seriously happening? So that's my rant. I would just love to know if anyone else is as appalled by Liam's death, or is it just me? Because I'm mad. So since Liam's death is basically the end of the book, I'm just gonna go through some things that I want out of the rest of the series. So right away, when I first started reading the book, I spoiled the surprise ending of Brennan being alive by seeing that he had dialogue on the very last page, because I was flipping back to see how many pages the book was, and I saw he had dialogue. So the ending wasn't a shock to me. But moving on in the series, I am looking forward to seeing him as a character, and I'm also looking forward to the conversation that Zayden and Violet need to have about the fact that Zayden knew her brother was alive the whole time. He's so good at secrets. How, when every time she would talk about her dead brother, you just don't say anything. You know that he's alive and well, and you're just like, yep, he's dead. What a mess. Also, the last chapter of the book was from Zayden's point of view, and I need the rest of the series to be dual point of view from Violet and Zayden's point of view. I personally feel like this is a must. Potentially, Zayden and Violet will be separated since Violet still has 2 years of school left. So I'm thinking since they're gonna be separated, like, we will need to know Zayden's point of view, like wherever he's at, like knowing what's happening with him. So I think with the first book, to keep the ending with his betrayal and all of his little secrets safe from the reader, it made sense not to have Zayden's point of view throughout the entire book. But now it's all out there. All of his secrets are out there. We know he's been doing what he's been doing. So now give me his point of view for the rest of the series. I demand it. Last thing I really want is to explore Violet's family dynamics now that we know that Brennan's alive. So clearly her brother is for the revolution side, which, by the way, where's his dragon? It was mentioned at some point in the book that nobody has seen his dragon since he died. So I'm guessing his dragon is in this village with him too. And I was thinking potentially a lot of other dragons who are also for the revolution are maybe also there. But I also want/think that Mira, Violet's sister, will have to make the decision to either stick on their mom's side with the kingdom, or she'll have to go with her siblings in the revolution. Also, not gonna lie, I think Violet will end up killing her mom. I don't know why. I just think that there will be some sort of battle between the kingdom or the college or whatever and the revolution people, and Violet will need to be the one to take her out. I just have that feeling. Also, I kind of want her to because I don't like her mom. So kind of a grim way to end the video, but here we are. Those are all the thoughts I have so far on Fourth Wing. Needless to say, I'm looking forward to the next book. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from everyone. Thanks so much for spending your time with me. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.